the huge push that we've seen in AI, is that something that's going to lift all boats, or is this really just a case of there's going to be real winners who have the chips you want and everybody else who doesn't?
So this is the challenge with AI. It is, like I said before in the past, it is opposite of the internet. The internet was decentralized. It was open. There were lots of players. Prices were coming down. Well, what we have in this AI revolution is there are a few winners, right? You end up with closed systems. You got situations where everything's costing more. And more importantly, this is going to be one of those situations where you don't have the open systems that are needed. So we need a lot more competition in AI. And hopefully that's going to change with, you saw the investment this morning where, Jeff Bezos is like backing the chip manufacturers, in Korea to actually compete against NVIDIA. Right. You're going to see more and more of the companies that are buying lots of chips from NVIDIA try to invest in alternatives because they don't want one winner or a winner-takes-all market in terms of their supplier base either.
Does that tick off NVIDIA, and do they then, as a result, stop giving as many chips to those companies that are now looking for, other competitors to go along the way? Because those big buyers have been the ones who have been able to really shepherd a lot of the chips that are coming out. They're able to pay the big bucks right now. What does that mean?
No, Becky, that's a great question. And I think the order books are out for the next 18 to 24 months. So it's about a 2-year buffer NVIDIA has, but there's also the shift, right? These companies aren't going to keep buying those data center chips at that rate. They're going to need other alternatives. And what you're going to see is, the shift to sovereign AI, countries that actually have to deliver AI at scale to their citizens, because this isn't something that any country can just pick up and do. And smaller countries and smaller companies that don't have that capital investment are going to have to build up that consolidated purchase towards AI capabilities. And then after that, we'll have to see what happens. But that's like 48 months out in terms of any projections.
David, we have news this morning for Supermicro, which has been a company that is directly involved with NVIDIA. They don't seem to know how fast things are going. Everything is just moving so quickly. And their companies, Supermicro, by the way, this CFO is out, and that's very positive.
Yes, we should mention Supermicro has also completed that review by an independent special committee. Interestingly, aided by the forensic accounting firm Secretariat Advisors. Who knew?
I didn't
that we'd
know.
Be talking about the great horse, and there it would be once again.
Well, they better be really quick, because when you do one of those independent statements, they don't like that.
No evidence of misconduct on the part of management or the board of directors, and that the audit committee acted independently. No restatement of reported financials expected. Those are the headlines from this release from Supermicro that is out just a few moments ago. There's a lot more here, guys, that we need to go through in terms of specifics that they address. Of course, much of this, not all of it, began when their longtime accountant, Ernst & Young, resigned and said it couldn't support the financials as they were reported at the time. Stock plummeted.
Herb Greenberg points out the special committee is one person.
Yeah, I was going to say that the farce of the special committee is what you got to focus on. Now, having unfortunately been involved in some of these situations with the special committee, government does not like self-exoneration. The SEC will call you and say, oh, really? Really? Your special committee? Are they made up of hacks? Are they made up of Joe? Or they might just send a release out which just says there is no special committee. Because the government does not like self-exoneration. The government likes to investigate itself. They like a little secretariat get inside here.
They do. They do.
No, I think this is quite a day, because you're going to see winners win. What a cliche. Winners win. But NVIDIA was down $2 this morning on story out of Commerce that somehow they were going to be involved, and they do have good China business of a kind of a, you put a governor on a electric bike, you can't go fast. They have a governor on the latest NVIDIA chip, and they were selling that well in China. So maybe that somewhat. But the fact is that you just keep distancing yourself from the crowd if you're NVIDIA. And I still think, and you're going to have Ben Regis on this morning, right?
Yes.
I think he's going to speak very positively about NVIDIA. He has been the other guy. What? What's so funny?
It is funny, to your guys' point about special micro, when you read about a special committee, typically you think a committee is people. But in this case, it's Susie Giordano.
How about AI? Was there Gentix?
I don't know if she was assisted by AI, but the special committee is comprised of Susie Giordano. She's an independent member of the board of directors of Supermicro, an experienced attorney. She joined the board in August, this last August. to lead the special committee's efforts to review the matters outlined above.
Perfect.
Independent from any existing directors. So yes, the special committee was one person. That said, again, I would refer people to a press release I'm still going through, and I'm sure others are. They do note lapses, including ensuring guardrails were always in place and observed, because the company's chief financial officer had primary responsibility for the process of rehiring certain employees. He had a responsibility for process lapses. Guys, it goes on from there. I'm not going to go through it all right now, but you can see the rebound that's taken place in Supermicro shares. By the way, this has been going on for some time after the plummet that took place when Ernst & Young said, we're out of here.
Well, I mean, there's also been the interlocking people on this board and relatives on the board and all the deals that have been made are just ridiculous. And I think that this is not necessarily going to be the end of the situation. I think that needs a further house cleaning. Look, I'm not saying it's going to be a special committee here, but when Ernst & Young resigned, that's not been cured. I mean, they did bring in another, they brought in with BDO, but I think that it's a longer term thing. It's like, it's not done.
Right.
It's not done.
Special committee, as in Susie Giordano, did not see any evidence suggesting anyone at the company tried to circumvent export control regulations or restrictions.
Which, of course, was never in doubt. I mean, that was like a canard.
Was aware that
that was never the issue.
Might be diverted to a prohibited end use or location. That's one part from here as well. They are getting a new CFO, as we said, appointing a chief accounting officer, appointing a chief compliance officer, appointing a general counsel, expanding the legal department. These are all measures recommended by the special committee.
Well, that's positive.
Or I should say, Susie Giordano. Well, the special what do you call a committee?
Committee of one
person.
Committee of one.
Thank you.
We've seen that's a CBS show, along with Fire Country. Committee of one. Do you see that? Committee of one. They take the Mangold's fire.
You're holding a meeting of the special committee. You go into special chamber.
No, that's tracker. That's tracker.
You want. Yep. Although, do you have to do it in a special location as a special committee? And you talk to yourself during this.
Well, I'm telling you.
And you say, Susie.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? And
Tigris.
Susie, right.
Yeah.
Well, it was a robust discussion.
Yeah, well, Agentix was. They have to bring Agentix. Agentix is neutral.
All right, I hope you're all doing great today. The S&P finished the day about 0.2% higher, and NVIDIA finished the day nearly 0.3% higher. Supermicro stock had a great day today, finishing up nearly 30% after the company announced the completion of a review by an independent special committee. The committee claims to have found no evidence of misconduct. I will be completely honest with you. I don't know the details of the situation, and I think there are reasonable questions regarding the validity of the investigation, considering the connections between the company and those on the committee. Was this committee truly independent? I don't know. That's the honest answer. I don't know. As I've said in the past, as long as the situation with Supermicro is unique and contained to just Supermicro, then I don't think it really matters to NVIDIA in the grand scheme of things. Even if Supermicro were to stop buying from NVIDIA could simply redirect that supply to one of the other companies waiting in line for whatever they can get from NVIDIA right now. With that being said, the ideal scenario would be for everything to be fine at Supermicro so that there are no short-term hiccups. Hopefully that's the case, but we will see what happens. I also want to bring to your attention that NVIDIA recently updated their upcoming events on their investor relations website. We have the UBS Global Technology and AI Conference this Tuesday, December 3rd at 7:35 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 9:35 a.m. Eastern. Then we have the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference scheduled for January 13th, and later on NVIDIA's next earnings report on February 26th. Regardless of what happens in the short term, I am bullish on the long-term future of NVIDIA. After NVIDIA's most recent earnings report and earnings conference call, it is clear that the long-term thesis surrounding NVIDIA and the build-out of AI infrastructure remains firmly intact. The demand for Blackwell is insane. Hyperscalers have yet to show any signs of reducing their capex on AI. We have a very clear product roadmap from NVIDIA for the next 2 years with the launch of Blackwell in 2024, Blackwell Ultra in 2025, and Rubin in 2026. Additionally, Jensen Huang said on NVIDIA's recent earnings call that NVIDIA will deliver more Blackwell in the fourth quarter than they originally anticipated. For all of these reasons, and many more, I am bullish on NVIDIA for at least the next 1 to 2 years. I think NVIDIA is gearing up for some massive earnings in 2025 as Blackwell production ramps in volume. Things are looking especially good for the quarter that NVIDIA will report in May of 2025. In the short term, anything can happen. And this is a high beta stock in which it is normal for large, quick pullbacks to occur from time to time. But regardless of what happens in the short term, I am bullish on the long-term future of NVIDIA. For right now, I think talks about tariffs and the Supermicro situation are just short-term noise when it comes to NVIDIA. The long-term thesis remains firmly intact. As long as everything remains peaceful in the Pacific, and as long as none of the hyperscalers significantly reduce their capex spending on AI, then I think NVIDIA should be just fine for at least the next 1 to 2 years. At least that's how I see it. With all of that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts about NVIDIA in the comments below. Please leave a like on this video so more people will see it. And while you're down there, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.